following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everyone. This is Rob Deininger with Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and I'm here with Jack Degraw, and we're talking Yankees baseball. How you doing, Jack?
Good. How are you this morning, Robert?
Not too bad. The big news coming out of Friday was they finally pinpointed the injury to Aaron Judge, which is a stress fracture of the first right rib, and apparently he hurt it in September when he dove for a ball. And he played through the injury, through the postseason, and it's still bothering him.
Yeah, and a lot of times those rib injuries take, there's not really much you can do for them. Weren't you telling me they wanted to do a procedure? Or?
Yeah, there's a surgery. What they could do is they can remove the rib, but it's not something that people want to do. So they're hoping. They're going to shut him down for 2 weeks and then reevaluate him to see if it's healing. And if not, then maybe they'll talk about surgery and removing the rib.
So, if they don't remove the rib, is there any time frame they would put on it? 2 months, 3 months, or they just don't know? They just don't know, but they said it does look like it's healing, so they're hoping that with full rest that it will heal, but this looks like something that might take a while, especially since a lot of athletes who've had this type of injury and had the rib removed said they were never the same afterwards. So if I'm Judge, I don't think I'd want to have my rib removed. So this could be something that could be a couple months easy. Yeah, he just can't seem to, to stay healthy. It's a shame because, he's a great talent. He's almost, he's one of the faces of the game, but, he can't stay on the field. No, and, apparently, like I said, he dove for the ball in September and he wanted to play in the postseason, so he just got cortisone injections, which made him feel a lot better. And then afterwards, I guess in late November, somewhere in December, he started working out and it was sore and it bothered him, but he didn't know what was wrong. And like the Yankees said, he went through 12 different tests, CAT scans, MRIs, X-rays, and they didn't say how they found it, but they're saying now that's what's wrong with him is a stress fracture of the first right rib. Yeah, even if he gets healthy, how long is it going to take him, to get in shape? Get his bats. It could take, we're just speculating, but it could be anywhere from 2 to 4 months. Who knows? Yeah, and like we were talking off air, these athletes, especially someone like Aaron Judge, who's 6'8", and Stanton, who's 6'6", these guys are huge, and their bodies, I don't think, are built for that kind of grind of a 162-game schedule. Yeah, there's a lot of tall pitchers nowadays, but if you look over, the major league rosters, I don't think you see a lot of guys. You see a lot of guys 6'2", 6'3", but 6'6" and 6'8". It's just a lot of wear and tear on the body, and they're doing things, every day that running, hitting, throwing, fielding, and it just I guess it wears more on a bigger person because Judge just seems always been hurt. It has to. Since he's come up in 2016, 2017 was his full season, and he played in 155 games. And 2018, he played in only 112 games, and then last year he only played in 102 games. So it seems like every year so far he's been in the majors, the number of games keeps going down because of injuries. Yeah, and then, there's talk of giving him a long-term contract, and do you really want to give somebody like that a long-term contract, with a history of injury like that? He's a great player when he's on the field, but he just, he can't stay on the field. Yeah, that's like Severino. They just gave him a 4-year, $40 million contract, and
they're only going to get a year and a half out of him, and you might only get one good year from that contract, and the other 3 years are a waste. So they might be leery to give him a lot of money just because of the injury history.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, like, just getting away from Judge for a second. Like pitchers, you never know. You give them these big, long contracts, and, to keep them locked up. I mean, if Severino pitches like he can, that contract was actually a deal. But
yeah,
I mean,
it is,
you look at a guy like Cole. I mean, if they win a World Series or two, it's well worth it.
Yeah.
But you remember they gave CeCe the long contract, and he was great for 5 or 6 years. Then the last 6 years of his career, he struggled. Look what David Price is going through, Chris Sale. There's been numerous pitchers, so you just never know. You give them these contracts. You just hope for some success, and it pays off if you win a World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Sale, he's going to miss the start of the season, and apparently he's opting not for surgery. So a long time for Boston, and if he comes back, he could get injured and then will be forced to get surgery. So you never know once these pitchers get hurt what you're going to get from them.
Yeah, with the Red Sox, at least it worked out well because, they got a World Series out of it. If you get a World Series out of it, you really can't complain. But it's just, it's a big risk, and, and a lot of them don't work out. So we'll have to see what happens with Cole.
Yeah, and going back to Aaron Judge, I'm worried because, I mean, he was great batting in that number 2 spot. I mean, it seemed like every time he's up at bat, the count's 3-2. I mean, he does a great job of working that count. It's always 3-2 every time he's up. And I'm just hoping, for the best with him because he is a good player, and he can carry a team offensively when he gets hot. And I hate to see anything happen to him that, affects his game at the plate.
Yeah, you wonder who they'll put in the number 2 spot now.
Yeah, because that was his spot in the lineup, and he was pretty effective there.
Because the thing is, they have to be careful with Judge because, you look at the guys coming up after him, you don't want to walk him, and so, it could affect the lineup. I mean, they'll still score a lot of runs, but not having him is a big blow. Yeah,
I mean, we know LeMahieu is going to be leading off, and so far in spring training, Gleyber Torres has been batting third. So, and they've been, I think, mixing and matching with people at number 2. I've seen Gardner bat number 2 a couple times. And today, I think they got Gio Urshela batting second. So I think they'll probably mix and match.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like Gio hits lower in the order, and Gardner's hit at the top of the order, but he's also hit 8th or 9th. So you might see guys hitting second for a while, then you might see him in the bottom of the lineup. I mean, but they got a lot of hitters. It's a nice option to have.
Yeah. And today they play the Pirates at 1 o'clock, and they got Talkman playing center field and leading off, followed by Urshela playing third, Andahar in left, Ford at first, Anetta behind the plate, Gittins at DH, Zach Granite in right field, Estrada at short, and Holder at second with Loaiza on the mound to start the game.
Well, a guy to watch with the Yankees is Chris Gittins, the first baseman.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of power, and I believe he was in Trenton last year, Double-A, but he's had over 20 home runs a couple times. I mean, I don't know if he'll get up with the Yankees, but he might be a guy to keep an eye on. And Kyle Holder's another guy because he's good at defensively he's excellent, and his hitting's picked up a little bit. So maybe later in the season, you might see him up with the Yankees, with more injuries.
Gittins and Garcia won awards yesterday for the best players in the Yankees minor league system for 2019.
Yeah, and like Gittins is a guy you don't hear a lot about, but you know, he's become a prospect. And another guy is that, you know, Trey Armberger, the outfielder.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's another guy to look for. You know, they might bring him up, you know, later in the season if there's injuries and stuff. But he's gotten the map. I mean, he's hit over 20 home runs, you know, the last couple of years. And every year he gets better. So at some point you might see him in the major leagues too.
Yeah, and our last show we were talking about the Yankees rotation and how Montgomery, they said, pretty much had the fourth spot locked up, and Loaiza has the inside track to the fifth spot in the rotation. Montgomery had a bad outing this past week against Detroit. I think he gave up 4 or 5 runs, and Loaiza pitches today. But it'd be nice to see those guys, you know, continue to build on their spring training, just to, you know, give Yankee fans hope that the rotation will be good until Paxton at least gets back.
Well, I don't give, you know, what happened in Lakeland to Montgomery. I don't worry too much about that because, like we always talk about, you know, in the spring down here in Florida, it's always windy and there's a lot of wind-blown home runs and pop flies and stuff. You know, the big thing is to watch the last 2 starts, you know, for Montgomery. And I mean, Loaiza has been hurt a lot also, but I think, you know, those guys can give you good innings and stuff because the Yankees will score a lot of runs. You know, if they give up 3 or 4 runs in 5 or 6 innings, it'll keep you in most of the games.
And Aroldis Chapman made his spring debut last night. He followed the rookie Deivinger Garcia, and he was throwing 98, 99 miles per hour, which is a great sign for Chapman that he's throwing that hard this early. Yeah,
if I remember correctly, I mean, last spring, I believe, you know, he was like at 94, 95 for, you know, most of the spring. And last year, I don't think he hit 100 too many times. So, you know, there's been a little concern as his velocity dropped a little bit.
Yeah, because I didn't get to see the game, but I read a article about his performance last night, and he looked sharp. He even shattered a bat or 2.
Well, I'm sure they'll be throwing him out there, you know, again on Monday and Tuesday. You know, a guy like Chapman I don't worry about because he's just trying to get his work in down here. And, you know, the bullpen's solid. And, you know, Chapman I think he's not as good as he used to be, but he can still be, you know, an excellent closer.
Yeah, and the rookie, the young prospects, the Yankees, Deivinger Garcia pitched the first 2 innings last night, and he gave up 2 runs. 1 was earned, but apparently Gary Sanchez had 2 passed balls that led to the runs being scored. But otherwise, he looked good again. Hitters only batting 188 off of him in the spring, so I mean, he's someone that we could see later on in the year at some point if he pitches well at AAA.
Yeah, I know the Yankees are impressed with his poise and everything, you know, how he goes after hitters. And I don't know if you've seen, Robert, Clark Schmidt pitched this week.
Oh, no, I missed him. But I'm looking at his stats, and he's another one who's got a 1.80 ERA, 5 innings. He's got 6 strikeouts, only walked 2 batters.
Yeah, I know he pitched against the Phillies the other day. He gave up a 2-run homer to Jay Bruce. But, you know, the impressive thing is how these pitchers, you know, the younger pitchers recover after they give up a home run. And, you know, after he gave up that home run, he settled down and he was effective after that because a lot of times, you know, it's more impressive after they get hit around a little bit. You know, they can just regain their composure and, you know, just move on and pitch a good game.
And the Yankees selected him with the fifth overall pick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they took him even though they knew he needed Tommy John surgery. So, I mean, he's someone the Yankees are very high on. And he pitched well last year, you know, for AA.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something. There was talk they might just start him out in Tampa down here because, you know, a lot of times they don't like to bring guys up, you know, with the cold weather up north and stuff. And, you know, he'll probably if he don't start out down here, he'll definitely go to Double-A, and at some point in the season, he'll be in Triple-A, and who knows, he could maybe make the jump and get some games in the big leagues this year.
Yeah, and Happ has looked good in this spring. I mean, he's pitched 3 games. He's 2-0, but he's pitched 9 innings. He's only given up 1 run on 4 hits, and he's struck out 11 in 9 innings. And Jonathan Loaiza, who starts today, he's got 9 strikeouts in 5 innings, and he's yet to give up a hit or a run. He hasn't walked a batter. He's looked sharp. So those are 2 guys who are going to be in your rotation who've looked awfully good.
Yeah, there was talk all winter of, like they were going to trade Happ, but, I think maybe the Yankees knew about, Severino's injury and, a couple other things, and they didn't, they didn't let on, so I'm glad they kept Happ, and I think Loaiza, if he can stay healthy, he's got some good stuff. So,
yeah.
The pitching is not, there's been injuries, but they still got enough pitching to, be very successful, I think.
Yeah. It's just, you get worried when you see players getting hurt like, Judge and Paxton and, but it looks like our rotation will be all right. And Frazier, it's a good thing they've held on to Clint Frazier because it looks like they're going to need him, and along with Andahar in the outfield to start the season for sure.
Yeah, like we always like to speculate, and people like to speculate. What are they going to do with this guy? What are they going to do with this guy? And a lot of things, just turn out, you never know what's going to happen. Guys get hurt, and that'll answer all your questions. But it's great they got Frazier, and it's great they kept Andahar and those guys. So
yeah. And Tauchman will definitely be on the roster because of his defense. I mean, he's struggling a little bit at the plate this spring, but defensively, he's a great player defensively. But I think Frazier and Andahar will be contributing, I think, mostly, at the plate for the Yankees to start the season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't draw too much into, the spring training, except for younger players, guys battling for jobs. Obviously, they have to play well, but, like with Frazier, we all know he can hit. And with Andahar, I just like to see how he plays defensively in the outfield and at first base. I mean, you're telling me he's been really hitting the ball in spring games.
Yeah, and he's, like the wind is something fierce down there, and he's been lucky where he hasn't had, a difficult time out there. He's actually looked like someone who's played the outfield for a number of years, and he's playing in left again today. But the Yankees say that they like what they see from him, in the outfield. So that's a plus that he's been able to pick it up.
Well, I mean, they're all outstanding athletes. That's why that's why they're in the big leagues. I mean, they could do a lot of things, but I mean, on balls maybe hit right at them and stuff like that. That could be kind of tough. But I'm sure he'll be able to make most of the plays, and he's got a good arm. And they're always positioning defensively, so I'm sure he'll be an adequate outfielder.
Yeah, and the interesting one is was Herrera. The guy who played with the Marlins last year, he continues to have a hot spring. I mean, he might actually have a good chance to start the season on the Yankees roster.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk maybe, Tyler Wade and stuff, but this guy here, I mean, he can play all over.
Yeah.
So there's somebody I'm sure that at some point of the season will be or is going to play a role somewhere.
Yeah, because entering yesterday, he was batting .545. He led the Yankees in extra base hits. I think he was up there in RBIs. So he's opened a lot of eyes, and given that you could play the outfield and the infield, I mean, that helps. It helps your case to make the roster.
Yeah, there's another guy, they picked up off the scrap heap.
Yeah.
And, so, it looks like he's going to play a part this year.
I know the Yankees have had a lot of, they've been hoping that Wade will turn into like a super utility player, but he's struggling again at the plate this year in spring training, and, that doesn't help his case to try to make the team.
Yeah, that's been the big thing with him, with his bat. I mean, I know he's hit a couple home runs. They're happy he's gotten, stronger, but, this kid Herrera is definitely, right on his heels now. So we're going to see how that plays out, in the next few weeks.
Yeah, because Tyler Wade, he's batting under 100. He has 10 strikeouts and 22 at bats. And this guy Herrera, he's just hitting the ball all over the field, and he can play 6 different positions. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he came out of nowhere, and he's right in the mix now. And Wade better pick it up because the strikeouts are very concerning.
Yeah. And DJ LeMahieu, he started off a little cold, but he's picked it up as of late. He's swinging a hot bat, which I think everyone knew he would. But Voit hit his first home run of the spring yesterday. Clint Frazier continues to swing a consistent bat. Andahar, you could tell, is just missing pitches. He did have a 2-run double against Detroit where he just missed a home run. It hit off the top of the fence. So I still think he's about to break out. But, I think the Yankees will score a lot of runs this year. It's just a matter of their key guys staying healthy.
Yeah, I think, you pay more attention to spring training maybe the last week or 10 days. That's when guys are starting to really gear it up, for the regular season. So, we'll see how everything pans out. But, personally, I think the season starts too early, but that's not going to change. So
I know they had Zach Britton pitch a simulate game the other day to get him some work in, and I think someone else also had a simulated game to get some work in. So I think they're trying to get some pitchers ready for the regular season. It starts in a few weeks, right?
Yeah. Well, another thing, Robert. I mean, they're opening minor league camp today, and wow. on the 17th, they're going to start playing, exhibition games, over here at Himes and down here in Tampa. So a lot of the major league guys will probably go over to Himes and, get some work over there. They play the Phillies and they play the Blue Jays and the Pirates, and they have inter-squad games. So there's plenty of chances to get work in. It's just not the regular games.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm reading this article. They said Loaza will make his 4th appearance this spring. He has 1 option remaining, which means he could be sent to the minors if he doesn't cop a big league spot.
Well, I think as of now, I think you'll see him on the opening day roster.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, but Judge, going back to Judge, this could be a season where you're not going to see a lot of the production you normally see out of him. I mean, it could be a while. You mentioned, Robert, like other guys have had the surgery and they took their rib out. Did they go into detail? Did it hurt their hitting, or they lost power? Was there any any specifics? No, there was. I was watching Michael Kay's show, and they had a caller come in who said he had the same kind of injury. He healed quickly, and he had a friend who didn't heal quickly and had the rib removed, and he said he wasn't the same athlete ever again. And Michael Kay and his co-host were talking about athletes, and I can't remember their names, but who just weren't quite the same after having the rib removed. So if I'm Judge, I'd probably want to stay away from that and just try to have it heal on its own, if it will.
Yeah, I think that'd be the smart thing because he's still young enough. He's got a lot of productive seasons, and to have something like let them take a rib out of your body is, I think that's pretty much the last resort. Yeah,
I mean, and they said it shows signs of healing. So if it is healing, then I would just shut him down and let it heal. If it takes a few months, so be it. But I'd like to see Aaron Judge come back fully healthy instead of having to remove a body part to get him back in the lineup.
No, they're not in desperate. It's not a desperate situation. I mean, The Yankees want to win in October. That April and May will just play itself out. They'll win a lot of games, but the big, you're looking at the big picture. And you want to win a World Series.
Yeah. And this week on the schedule, we got the Pirates today, the Braves Sunday, then the Orioles on Monday, then the Phillies, Blue Jays, Mariners, and Nationals to end the week.
Yeah, well, I hope to hit a game this week, Robert. I used to go to every game, but it's been kind of rough with the ticket prices are out of hand and everything.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people are getting sick of the ticket prices, and spring training's not like what it used to be. It's just gotten out of hand.
And that's a weird thing. I live up in Jersey, and I usually watch the spring training games on Yes. And this week, I think they only broadcast 3 games on Yes this week, which was, kind of a bummer. I was looking forward to catching a few games, and they played all week, but only broadcast 3 of the games.
Yeah, I know people when they're up north. I mean, they look forward to this stuff. I mean, this is like, the weather hasn't been bad, from what I understand, up north, but you look forward to this. It's coming, and you want to watch baseball, and it builds up enthusiasm, and it just seems like, I know the Yankees were even talking about, streaming games this year. I'm not really, I'm not too up on it right now, but, you wonder what's going on.
Yeah, apparently they broadcast Yankee games on YouTube, and I guess Yankee games aren't going to be broadcast on YouTube anymore. They've been playing those commercials nonstop on the Yes Network.
Yeah, I noticed, Robert, even when they stream games, a lot of times they don't do a good job with it.
Yeah.
Even on MLB when you watch it, I mean, sometimes it's delayed so much you don't know what's going on. It just seems, I mean, it doesn't just seem to be a good job when they stream things.
Yeah. But going into this week, last week we joked that hopefully there's no more injuries, and even though Judge wasn't officially considered injured, he's another one added to the list. Hopefully we can get to this week without anyone getting hurt.
Yeah, that's the big thing with the Yankees. You were just hoping they would get through spring training with no injuries, but I mean, guys were getting hurt before they even started playing games. So, the trend seems to be continuing.
I know people are I've been looking on Twitter and elsewhere, people are upset with the Yankees medical staff that it took them this long to find out what was wrong with Judge, but apparently this is a type of injury where it just doesn't show up on test, which makes me curious to how they found it, because I haven't heard anyone from the Yankees or anywhere else say how they actually found out that his rib was fractured. Yeah,
and from what I understand, I mean, when somebody breaks a rib or breaks a couple ribs, there's not really much you can do. They just have to heal, and they take time to heal, and some people heal quicker than others. So, I mean, it's frustrating, but, just what are you going to do?
Yeah, and apparently Judge, he didn't take much time off after the postseason. He started working out right away, and even though it bothered him, he kept working through it until he finally told the Yankees, and they shut him down in late January, early February. Yeah,
you wonder what would have happened if, he would have held off in December and January, but, they're athletes, and that's what they want to do. They want to get ready for the season. So,
yeah,
whatever.
But
go ahead, Robert. Sorry.
Oh, I get Aaron Boone. He said yesterday they're going to shut him down for the next 2 weeks, and then they'll reassess and reevaluate. Hopefully, we'll get some good news on it.
Yeah, I just got a feeling though this is going to be 2 or 3 months at least.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, I even predicted. I run a Twitter account, a Yankees Twitter account, and I even said this could be a problem all year, and that was before they diagnosed him with the fractured rib. So I have a feeling it could be a while before we see him back on the field this season.
Yeah, I don't know, Robert. It just seems, the guy's always getting hurt, and I know you want to give a big contract to somebody like that because, Torres is going to want more money, and Sanchez is going to want more money, and possibly Andujar and LeMahieu, and one of the reasons they signed Cole, but they lost Didi. So there's a lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah, and since 2017, where he played over 150 games, but since then it's gone down every year to the point where he only played 102 games last year, and given how long he's out this year, he might not even make 100 games. You don't know. Yeah,
everything's so up in the air right now. We can only speculate.
And Stanton, he'll they say he should be back somewhere in April, but you just hope given his history as well that he can make it through an entire season. I think we'll see him play a lot of DH instead of having him in the outfield. Try to help him.
Yeah, I think early in the season you'll hardly ever see him in the outfield, and there's another injury. Take your time with him. Don't rush him back, and if you have to keep him down here in Florida for the first couple of weeks in April, do it because the big picture is what's important.
Yeah, because even though he played the entire first season with the Yankees, he wasn't hurt, but he played through a hamstring injury the entire year. So he's the type that plays through injuries. So, you just want to get him out there and make sure he's 100% healthy before you put him back out there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times these guys make such big money, and they want to just play, go through it because they want to earn it. But then, the fans get on it if they don't play well. But if they're injured, it affects their productivity. So, it's tough decision to make.
And I guess Stanton, he started running on a Alter G anti-gravity treadmill, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
But apparently, I mean, what the hell is an anti-gravity treadmill? But apparently he's running up to 6 miles per hour on the treadmill, so I guess that's good.
Boy, remember the old days when you just ran on the field?
Yeah, I mean, my God. Wow. Pete Rose, what he said when the season was over, he dropped his baseball bat and didn't pick up a bat and glove until spring training started. And it's just crazy how the eras have changed where now it's all year long these guys are trying to work out and improve their bodies, but yet they're breaking down more than ever.
Well, I think in the off season, you ride a bicycle, you shoot baskets, you play tennis, or you play ping pong or something.
Yeah.
And, it just seems like they're doing all these weight training things and all these agility drills, and they all seem to get hurt. It just it's ridiculous. Everybody comes out with these new ways to improve, and you're going to get stronger and bigger, and the only thing is you get hurt.
Yeah.
They can lift 500 pounds, but they can't run the first base without pulling a muscle. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah. That's like, I guess, Luke Voigt had the biggest smile after hitting that home run yesterday. Because, I mean, didn't he hurt his core muscle last year running around first base? He actually hurt it running.
Yeah, I didn't heard of that, but I'm sure that happened because they're built like Greek gods, and they're like they're like silly putty on the field. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. I mean, Mickey Mantle. They refer to him as country strong, and I don't think Mickey spent any time in the weight room, did he? That you know of?
No, because like that era, hardly anybody lifted weights. Everything was like flexibility, and and you wanted to play a game, you just played the game, and but now they got all this stuff, and they invent all this, like that treadmill. I can't even pronounce that, what they call that, and they just seem to be always hurt. So obviously, what they're doing, it maybe help some people, but I've never seen so damn many injuries.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
Sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
I was going to say, even Derek Jeter was big on flexibility, and the only major injury I can think of him having was that time he dislocated his shoulder early in his career against Toronto. But other than that, Jeter was pretty much healthy his entire career.
Yeah, didn't he get hurt one year opening day in Toronto, sliding to third base or something? But
with the shoulder.
Injury. That's a baseball injury. That happens. But rounding first base or throwing a ball or hitting the ball, it's crazy. And look at these pitchers; they're always hurt, for God's sakes.
Yeah. And going back to Stanton and Judge being how big they are and how much torque they generate when they swing a bat, it's surprised that they don't pull more muscles than they already do.
Yeah, baseball is such a highly skilled game and stuff. It's, I think it's a tough game for, really big people to play.
Yeah.
It's a tough game for anybody, but the big people is even tougher.
And going back to what you said about pitchers, there's actually kids in high school who opt for Tommy John surgery, or at least want to get Tommy John surgery, even though they're not hurt, just so they can prevent it in the future. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know kids down here in high school. They used to pitch maybe 30 or 40 innings a year, and they didn't play the field anymore. And it's like everything is so high tech nowadays. I don't know. It's just I can't figure it out.
Yeah. So you're going to try to catch a game this week?
Yeah, I might catch a game tomorrow or Tuesday. And then, I got tickets for, next Sunday and then Wednesday and the following Wednesday. So I might hit like anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 games the rest of the year. I used to go to like 15, 17 games a year, but it just got out of hand with the ticket prices and stuff.
Yeah.
And spring training isn't as fan friendly as it used to be.
And that's disappointing too.
Yeah, if people's never been here, they'll come down and they'll love it. But you don't have the access to the players, and you can't watch the workouts. You can't watch them pitch. And to watch them work out, you have to stand like in the stadium to watch them take infield practice on a backfield. You used to be right there. Now I have to stand between like 2 garbage cans to even take a couple photos. You can't get close anymore. And and the screen around the field, it does affect the sight lines. I know why they do it.
Yeah.
But you don't have access to the players, and it's a shame because the players can't. The kids can't get autographs anymore, and that that takes away from it too.
Yeah, and that's one of the big attractions about even going to a game is interacting with the players.
Yeah, you like to get a ball signed or a program signed just for a just for memories. It's,
yeah.
And that seems to be taken away because I think the fans are almost obsolete nowadays. All they want, the owners, is big contracts, luxury boxes. If they could get luxury boxes, they wouldn't give a shit whether they had fans in the stands or not. If they can get the big wigs and spend a lot of money, and they wouldn't care if the fans go to the games at all. And that's a shame. And that's my
it really is. Yeah, and they make billions off of the TV deals they get, so they got the money. Yeah,
so they want to sell luxury boxes, and they don't care if the fans, the common fan goes to the game or not. And eventually, it's, in this country, they're losing popularity. It's not like it used to be. I think in a few years you're going to see more players come in from the Dominican Republic and Venezuela because they're really good players. But and baseball is hard to play. If a kid has a chance to play baseball in college,
yeah,
who wants to go to the minor leagues and play 5 or 6 years to learn your craft? If you're a football player, basketball, or hockey, you can just pretty much go to the big show and make money. And in the minor leagues in baseball, you're going to have to struggle for X amount of years because baseball, people don't realize it's a highly skilled sport, and not you could be a great athlete and be a lousy baseball player. So
yeah, they say that one of the hardest things to do in sports is to hit a major league fastball, and they're right.
Yeah, I mean, when you get close and you see this ball going 95 miles an hour, and it's dipping and it's sinking, it's like, it's something to see.
And that's why hitters like Ted Williams and Tony Gwynn were so special. I mean, they could actually Ted Williams said he could actually see the stitches on the ball when it was being pitched to him. I mean, that's why when you see these hitters that come along, these great hitters, it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an exact science. I mean, you can work at it a lot and still not really be good at it, and your reflexes slow down a little. That's why the pitchers throw so hard nowadays. A lot of times, guys in their early 30s are like, they can't get around on the fastball anymore. The reflexes go a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and the way today's game is, they bring someone in, and every inning that can throw almost 100 miles an hour after the fourth inning. I mean, after that starter's out, you get these flamethrowers that are coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be guys in the bullpen, maybe they would, they weren't good enough to be starters, but now, they're programmed to be in the bullpen and, get specific roles. So, it's, everybody can throw 98, 100 miles an hour nowadays, and it's tough.
Yeah. So anything you're looking forward to this week? Anything to keep an eye on that you're going to look for?
Well, I mean, I just like to see how, the young guys do. The young starters come in like King and Garcia, and see how Loaiza pans out. But basically, I just hope everybody stays healthy, and that doesn't seem to be happening.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna watch the game today, see how Loaiza does, and some of these other young pitchers, and I'm gonna continue to look at Andujar, see how he does at the plate and in the field, since he's playing left field today.
Yeah, well, that's like I said, I hope to hit a couple games and get ready for the season.
Yeah,
it's not too far off.
Yep, and hopefully in a couple of weeks, the news on Aaron Judge will be good. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think, a season-long thing. So we'll see. If we get some good news soon, baseball-wise.
Okay, so next week, Jack.
Yep, Robert. Hopefully we'll get some good news, and it's always great to talk baseball. So.
Oh yeah, likewise. I love it.
Yeah, it's best game in the world.
It is, and especially being up here, living up in this area where the Knicks are pathetic and the football season's over with. There's not much to look forward to unless you're a hockey fan, and I'm not. So baseball's all I got right now.
Yeah, the Rangers look like they're turning around, and I know the Knicks had another thing with Spike Lee and not letting him enter the arena. I mean, what a shit show that Dolan is. I mean, my God. But the people keep going, so it's not going to change.
and the thing is, Spike Lee, he takes the subway to the game, so when he comes out of the subway, he likes to use the entrance, which happens to be, I guess, the player's entrance or maybe a VIP section, and he does it so he doesn't have to walk down a block to get into the entrance. And considering all the stuff he's done for New York over the past 4 decades, you'd think you would allow him to come in there. It's not a big deal.
No, I mean, one of the great things is when, we used to take the train from from New Jersey, you would just have to walk up the stairs. You're up the garden. I mean, Spike Lee is like, he's been at the Knicks season ticket holder for 28 years. He spent like millions of dollars going to these games, and most of them have been lousy. And, they start petty stuff like this. He can't go in an entrance. Who gives a shit? Well, Dolan does.
And apparently when Dwayne Wade was a free agent years ago, Spike Lee was, trying to get him to sign with the Knicks. He would show up at Dwayne Wade's hotel and talk to him and beg him. And apparently this is something Spike does, is try to, talk to athletes that come to New York trying to get them to join the Knicks. And this is a guy who's not being paid by the Knicks, and they treat him like this after all the stuff he's done, promoting the New York Knicks brand in his movies and just being an ambassador for him. I mean, I just couldn't get over it when I heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much they're a disgrace, and Dolan. Everybody wants him to sell the team, but if the fans keep going and the big wigs spend money on the luxury boxes, it's not going to change in the foreseeable future.
No, it's hard to watch him right now. I'll tell you that.
Well, at least we still have the memories of the Busher, Bradley Reed, and Frazier, and Nate Bowman, and Dave Stoller, Kathy Russell. So, those were the days, as they say.
Yeah, the Mecca. All right, Jack, so next week?
Yep, sounds good, Robert.
All right, to all you Yankee fans, we'll see you soon.
Take care now.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.